welcome back to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And let's not waste no time. We're going to get right into it. So, I want to talk about a couple of things today. First, I want to start off by talking about the 98-99 lockout, okay? And I happened to be in the 7th grade when the NBA lockout was taking place, okay? So the NBA Finals finished up around June 14th, 1998. That's when Jordan hit the game winner. And the draft was a couple of weeks later. And Vince Carter got drafted. Jason Williams got drafted. Antoine Jameson was a part of that class. Paul Pierce was a part of that class. And then that was pretty much it until January of 1999. And the NBA lockout, the first lockout, had been in the works for a long time. The players were getting a bigger revenue share than the owners. And most of y'all don't know this, but the Bulls 72-10 season might not have happened, okay? And you say, well, why do you say that? Well, let me explain to you why. Because there was a very brief lockout. There was a very brief lockout before the 95-96 season. And it lasted about 48 hours, I think. It lasted about 2 days. Yeah, so there was a brief lockout. Players, owners worked things out. And but everybody says, from everything that I've seen, read, everybody says that Kevin Garnett signing a $126 million deal during the 97-98 season, it's what put the lockout in motion, okay? And so the 98-99 lockout affected everything from, it definitely affected players, games, rookies. It affected video games. It affected basketball cards. Don't believe me? How many people are young enough to remember NBA Live 99 like I do? Okay? How many people are young enough to remember, or old enough to remember, should I say, NBA Live 99, okay? Okay. So, let me find it. Right there, yeah, okay. So, NBA rosters for the 98-99 video games. I think there was one video game that went with the current rookie class of 1998. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was like NBA in the Paint 99 or something. It may have been that. But yeah. So the lockout affected everything. And just to show you how much the lockout affected everything from players, fans, video games, whatnot. I was just scrolling through, I play retro video games, okay? I play retro video games. And I was just looking through during his topic. And I noticed something in the booklet that said rosters are determined by actual NBA rosters as of July 1st, 1998. Some players are not included in the game for legal or contractual reasons. Translation: the NBA lockout. Vince Carter's not into the game because of the NBA lockout. Antoine Jameson's not in the game because of the NBA lockout. Jason Williams is not in the game because of the NBA lockout. Paul Pierce is not in the game because of the NBA lockout. And that was literally the only game where we had to trade Scottie Pippen from the Bulls to the Rockets. We had to make the updates. We had to create Vince Carter, Jason Williams, Paul Pierce. We had to create the rookie class of '99. Okay. And we also had to make the other trades and updates. So we had to trade Brent Barry to the Bulls. We had to trade Steve Kerr from the Bulls to the Spurs. We had to trade Luke Longley from the Bulls to the Suns. We had to trade Dennis Rodman to the Lakers. Believe it or not, he played a few games for the Lakers in 1999, but got released shortly thereafter. But it was just a weird season. It was just a weird season. The season was on the verge of being canceled, and hours before the season was going to be canceled, they came to a agreement. And I remember when the players were ratifying the agreement, I remember hearing the story about how Charles Oakley punched Charles Barkley. That's some of the silliest stuff that you've ever heard. But yeah, players came to a agreement, and the season was back on. And let me tell you something. The player who really lost in the NBA lockout, the player who really lost in the NBA lockout was Shawn Kemp. I kid you not, okay? Because I believe Shawn Kemp was playing at 240 in 1997-98 with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was playing at 240 in 1997-98, okay? Well, in 1999, Shawn Kemp thought that the players weren't coming back for the season. He thought the season was canceled. Then the season was back on. So he came to training camp, which was 2 weeks. Yeah. Training camp for the 1999 season was only 2 weeks. He came back to training camp at 280. Yeah. He came back to training camp at 280. And so Wayne Embry, who was the general manager for the Cavaliers at the time, said, "How did you manage to put on so much weight?" Shawn Kemp was honest. He said, "Wayne, I thought we weren't coming back." He was honest. He was honest. Yeah. But they say he went from being the Rain Man to the Pizza Man. Oh, come on, man. Don't do Shawn Kemp like that, y'all. They said he literally went from being the Rain Man to the Pizza Man. Enough of that, though. Enough of that, though. But yeah, it was a weird year. 50-game season, 3 games in 3 nights. The Bulls dynasty was broken up. And the newest dynasty, the San Antonio Spurs, who finished 37-13. 37-13, I believe. 37. Yeah. 37-13. Best record in the league. Beat Minnesota 3-1. Swept the Kobe Shaq Lakers, who were still arguing at that time. Swept the Kobe Shaq Lakers 4-0. Then turned around and swept the Portland Trailblazers 4-0. And so that was their path to the 99 finals. The New York Knicks, however, who I was deep down pulling for back in 1999, beat the Miami Heat 3-2. I think it was only fitting because Miami got blown out last year in the first round of Game 5 by New York 98-81 in the deciding fifth game of the first round. So, yeah. And they beat Miami. They sweep through Atlanta. And they beat the Indiana Pacers in 6 games. So, and this past year, Miami, I believe, was only the second 8 seed to make it to the NBA Finals. The New York Knicks were the original first 8 seed to make it to the NBA Finals, where they got kicked out by the Spurs 4-1. And, oh yeah, and speaking of the New York Knicks, Latrell Spree, we had to trade Latrell Spree to the New York Knicks because of on NBA Live 99 because of quote contractual obligations in the game, and so oh yeah, something else was on my mind. I lost my train of thought. Ugh. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, but yeah, it was just a weird year that ended with the birth of the new dynasty, the San Antonio Spurs. And so, I'm fascinated by 2 years in the NBA, 1990-91 and the 98-99 lockout season. I'm fascinated by those two things. They should make a documentary on the 99 lockout, on the 98-99 lockout. That's my belief, okay? They should make a documentary on the 98-99 lockout, okay? That's me, though. And we're also going to talk, and also wanted to talk about Bernard King. Now, many people don't remember Bernard King. Probably all the old head NBA fans do. Bernard King was one of the best scorers in the game. And he went to Tennessee. And not many people know this, but he almost lost his career to a drinking problem, okay? He had a drinking problem and almost lost his career. I believe in the early part of his career, he played for the New Jersey Nets, the Utah Jazz, and the Golden State Warriors, okay? And I believe he went to rehab early in his career. And he was comeback player of the year for the 80-81 season with the Golden State Warriors, okay? Then he got traded to New York in 82. And that's when he really became Bernard King. Back-to-back 50-point games for Bernard King against San Antonio and Dallas. Led his team to the playoffs where they got swept by the Philadelphia 76ers. They actually defeated New Jersey in the first round. And now this is back in the early 80s where you had mini series where there was no first round. There was a first round, but I believe the teams, if I remember correctly, the best teams got like goodbye. So there was no 5-game series. It was a best of 3. So you could advance to the next round 2 games to 1. So the playoff format was radically different in the 80s than it is as opposed to 2023. But so 1984 came about and Bernard was just tearing it up. That was the year he had back-to-back 50-point games. Not only that, he also had Hubie Brown as his coach. He also had players like Bill Cartwright, Marvin Webster, Chuck Robinson, Ray Williams, Darrell Walker, Len Elmore, and Trent Tucker as well. I hope I named everybody. But yeah, so that was the year he had the famous duel with Isaiah, when Isaiah scored 16 points in 94 seconds. The Knicks actually led 106-98 in the final minutes of the game. Then that's when Isaiah went off for 16 points in 94 seconds. They went into overtime, and Bernard King had a signature dunk where Louis Orr went up for a shot. He missed it. Bernard King came out of nowhere and just, right over everybody's heads. And so they advanced to the next round, faced the Boston Celtics, lost the first two games, and the Celtics were foolish enough to say that he wouldn't get another 40-point game. And what do you know? He goes out and gets 46, and they win the game, and they tie the series, take the Celtics to a 7. And Celtics won the championship that year. So the next year, Bernard King is averaging 32.7 points. I don't know if you've seen the clip, but there's a clip where he's chasing down Reggie Theus. They're playing the Kings. He's chasing down Reggie Theus. He goes up and he just blows out his knee. And then he misses the rest of the 85-86. Well, he misses the rest of the 84-85 season. He misses all of 85-86. And most of 86-87, he came back for the final 6 games of the regular season. Then he continued his comeback with I almost said Baltimore. He continued his comeback with the Washington Bullets for the 87-88 season, where he spent, where he played from 88 to 92. Really, 1991. I'll get to that in a second, but he averaged 28.4 points in 1991 and was once again a all-star. And for him to come back, to work his way back from major knee surgery, miss nearly 2 years, then make it back to being an all-star, pretty impressive. Then, after the 91 season, he got injured again. He came back again in 1993, playing for, once again, the New Jersey Nets, who were coached by Chuck Daly. And they also had a young core. They had Derek Coleman. They had Kenny Anderson. Rick Mahorn, a veteran, was on that team. Yeah, so to come back twice from 2 major injuries in your career, man, that's impressive, man. Props to Bernard King. Salute, baby. All right. That's it for the Throwing It Back podcast. I will be coming at y'all with more videos. Stay tuned. I'm out of here. Peace.